here have that secret that you carry? You know, that's one secret. Has anyone seen Post Secret? I think I'm obsessed with those, right? So I have a secret that I live with, and I can't tell people, but every so often I gotta get it off my chest. So I find random things like this to do to talk it out. So thank you for my free therapy session. So I was born in Canada, and at 3 months I moved overseas, and I lived in 7 countries and 14 cities. My father was a pharmaceutical vice president, and we lived a pretty awesome life, like really awesome. So I took the Concorde a couple times. I had tours of Disney. I saw Disney open in Paris. I went to international schools. I thought everyone lived like that. No. So my big dream was to continue this traveling thing. So I graduated high school in Brussels, Belgium, and I went to school in London, England. And I wanted to study photography. And I wanted to travel the world, live out of a backpack, work for National Geographic, you know, simple life. So I go to school, get my university degree. It's great. I start looking for jobs, and I loved Life magazine. That was something that was really always catching my eye. Right, and secretly, kind of liked Martha Stewart too. There's something she did with those fruits. So I started looking around, and I thought, okay, guess where I need to go, especially if I want to work for National Geographic, the United States of America. How do you go to America as a Canadian? You become a student. So I became a student. I went to Philadelphia. I studied photography. I had 3 years to be in Philadelphia. So I had 2 years to go to school and 1 year to get married, find a job, whatever I could do, change my name. So I did what I had to do, and September 11th happened and the towers fell. So randomly, like honestly, Bush was like this. I got this letter 2 weeks after I graduated, and it said it was beyond his control, but I had to go back to my passport country. I'm like, Canada, okay. So I'd been here a couple times. And every time we were young, my dad, he would like come to Canada and he'd bring back a suitcase of Canadian things. So all dressed chips, and then Habitat pea soup, and milks in a bag. Like, how did you bring that anyways? Concorde was so big, right? So Canadian things. I'm like, okay, Canada, let's do this. So my passport, next time you look at your passport, it said not machine readable. That never meant anything to me. What it means is I never got my passport issued in Canada. It was always at embassies. Moving over here was so hard. Like I was out of university, over 21, I was about 22 at the time, and it was like 300 million questions. You know, why have I been away from Canada, and what have I done? And so once I passed all their little tests, I got this thing, this OPIP card. Are you kidding me? It's free. So that was my big thing. I was like, forget finding a job, because photography was going everywhere at that point, right? So all that film stuff I learned to do was really obsolete. So I figured, all right, let's spend some time going to the doctors. Our dollar was good, I had some time to live. So, going to the doctors, I had to test it out. How free was this? Dude, it was free. Free! She checked freckles, I got tests I didn't even know you could get tested on. This was the most incredible thing. And they were never crowded. Like, it was amazing. You go to a hospital in some other parts of the world, it's like, you know, Grand Central Station, yet they're paying out, like, so much money. So, I do my whole health thing, and I'm kind of living here. And I noticed this is a really hard place to live. No, it's not Toronto itself. It's the fact that I'm not going to school, because kind of used all of Dad's money. And I, you know, have to find this job, and it's hard to find a job. And how do you make friends? Like, it was really difficult. One thing I'm really good at, waitressing. I had to work under the table in the United States, so I waitressed. So I started waitressing in different parts of the city, and then you kind of see 1 or 2 people you've, you know, done these gigs together with. And so I met this girl, and she seemed kind of cool, took me out and showed me the sights of Toronto. I was like, okay. One day we go to a party, I meet this guy, blonde hair, blue eyes. You know what I realized? I hadn't gotten laid since I'd been to Canada. So let's try that. So it was kind of the beginning of texting. And so it was like when it took a long time to text on those phones. So they text for a little bit, and then I was like, all right, let's do this. So I came over on a Friday night, And we had sex from Friday to Sunday. All right? Lots of sex. Really good sex. So I had just started a job working for the government, because that's what you do. So I start my job on Monday, and things were fine. Get home Monday, got a little scratchy throat, okay? Tuesday, Wednesday, I start getting kind of sick, not feeling good. Well, the whole controversy whenever you turned on the TV was the SARS stuff, right? So here I am working at immigration, meeting new people right off the boat. I'm not feeling good, oh my goodness. So I use my trusty card and I go to the doctors and they test me and tell me I do not have SARS. I'm like, all right, well, what do I have? Because I still feel sick. No, you gotta get out of the hospital, get out of the doctor's office. They don't want to see you if you don't have SARS because they want to keep everyone away. I'm like, all right. So I kept getting sicker and sicker. Now, that question, which was, yes, a little cliche, the eye thing, my eyes have seen a lot. When I actually went and got that OHIP card, you can have any part of my body, but I need my eyes. It was a photography thing, it was, stuff I've seen. I like my eyes. So one day I'm driving, on Bloor Street actually, and I'm looking up at these lights, and I start seeing two of everything. I'm like, what? And so I'm trying to focus, and I can't. So I pull over, and I call my dad. My parents had just slowly started relocating to Canada too. And I'm like, Dad, something's weird, I can't see. He's like, what have you been doing? I'm like, no, Dad, I was just driving. So he's like, what about that Hakeem optical guy? Why don't you go to him? There's one in every corner. So I'm like, all right. So I pull over. There is one there was at least, on every corner of the floor. So I went in, there was this guy in his white coat, and we were quite, close together, and he looked at me, and he said, I want you to take a seat, I'm gonna take your car keys, and we're gonna call you an ambulance. I don't know what he saw, but I knew I couldn't see. So I also had these pounding headaches. So if I kind of crawled underneath, it might feel better, but no, and my vision was going and going. So I go to a hospital, and I get to see a neurologist, and he asks me 100 questions, and he's like, okay, do you have, someone you can call? I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, Dad. So my dad comes. It's something about people who work as pharmaceutical people who give out drugs. They think they can diagnose and treat everything, right? So it's never a good thing with me, my dad and doctors. So we're there, and the guy's like, I think your daughter has MS. And my dad's like, oh my God, there's no way. He's Quebecois, so he's got this whole new language thing of swearing. So he's like, no way, she's in her early 20s. And so he said, well, let's give her a spinal tap. Like, I'm just sitting there like a guinea pig, because I don't even know. So, spinal tap goes, I get it. I'm going to tell you what it is. It's a nice big long needle that goes into the spine of your back. When he pulled out the liquid, here's something to tell you, they can tell every drug, anything you've ever done in that liquid, okay? Anything, any disease you have. So they tested the liquid, all they had to do was shake. Whatever it was, my vision came back. And I could see again, and I felt like $1,000,000. So, I'm back to working, everything's cool. And out of that guy, remember him? He would be one of those guys, like we just did our thing once, right? That was it. So, or a weekend of it. But he would always be in my lobby of my apartment. And I'm just like, really, dude? So I'd always try to get around him, couldn't. So one day I see him, I'm like, hey, you? He's like, I have to tell you something. I'm like, what? He's like, I'm positive. I'm like, you're positive about what? Like, always trying to talk to me. He's like, no, I'm HIV positive. I'm like, what? Now I got that test done. I got that test when I moved to the States. I got that test when I moved here. So I'm like, all right, okay. So I go to my doctor. And I'm like that frantic person at the desk. And I'm like, I've got to get tested. Oh my God, blah, blah, blah. Tell me a whole little story. She takes me in the room and she's like, you can't test here. I said, excuse me? She said, no, you can't test here. You need to go to an anonymous clinic kind of downtown somewhere and test there. And if you do test positive, you have to know you're never going to go back to the United States. I'm like, well, right on. You're going to let me get in a car after that. So I drive down, I find this anonymous clinic, I call them, and they're like, no, this is the men's clinic. The women's clinic is on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I don't give a come on, take me in. Apparently this happens a lot, because no one seemed to see it was a crisis. So I finally get in. Now, lady starts asking me these questions. So they're like those questions we talk about when we've had a couple drinks, or with our close friends, how many sex toys do you have? How do you clean them? Where do you insert? I'm like, how do you pass this test? So I'm like, 3. How many sex partners have you had? Questions, I didn't know how to pass it. Then I got the worst thing. So she's trying to she has a little butterfly, gets a couple drops, and I'm like, all right. You know how that Google, I think we were talking about Google before? You can kind of Google anything you want to learn, right? So I Googled this thing on HIV. You know what the first thing I learned was? how damn stupid I was. That I had no idea about this disease. That it's not a black thing, a white thing, a female thing, a male thing. It's one of those diseases, it doesn't discriminate. So I'm like, oh my God. But it has to get into your blood system. So like, come on, it was a weekend of sex, right? So I go back, and I see this lady at the nurse's office, and she grabs my folder, she opens it up, shakes her head. I'm like, oh no. Grabs 2 books and brings me in a room. She's like, okay, so you've tested positive for HIV. Any questions? I'm like, what? I'm like, so positive's not a good thing? Like, I'm trying to figure it out, right? So I'm like, yeah, like 100 questions. I actually asked them. She actually tries to answer them back. So to have a child eat into a petri dish and clean some stuff out, want, no. Don't tell anyone because there's stigma. So I didn't grow up. I grew up in new bullying. I didn't know what stigma was. I learned it a little later, and boy, have I learned it. Maybe, you know, I can stay with that guy or not. It doesn't really matter. That's what I was given. And it was on a Friday. So what do you do on a Friday? Nothing. You can't do anything. So on Friday, I went home. I cried. Oh, guess who was in my lobby? Yeah, that didn't go over very well. So I get in on Friday. I try to wash myself. It's like, who am I? What's going on? Like, I felt dirty. I felt like something was in me. I had questions and I didn't know what to do. I tried everything. You know, I figured, you know, if I just end it all now, my parents, they're not going to do an AIDS test and an autopsy. They wouldn't even test me for HIV because I didn't meet the requirement. They're going to test me for SARS right away, but not that. So whatever. So I tried it all. For some reason, don't ask, I come up with Pac-Man. Pac-Man's in my body. I just got to make sure Pac-Man doesn't eat all my white blood cells. Don't understand. So I go to this place on Monday morning. I get dressed up like a businesswoman because it's the AIDS Committee of Toronto, like blinkety lights. It's not really blinking, but in my head, blinking like Tara's going in here. So I walk in and I'm like, I've just been diagnosed with HIV. All right, how can we help you? How can we help you here? Like, he's all loud. I'm like, I don't know. We've never done this before. So I'm like, help, I don't know. So I go to a doctor. They do get me in touch with an HIV specialist. She was the first person to touch me. She put her hand on my leg, and she's like, I'm so sorry this happened to you. You forget how important that human touch is, especially when you feel like something's in you. It was amazing. So she's like, you know, make health your #1 priority, and you should be fine. I'm like, okay. So I go to my work. I still had that job at immigration. And I'd go to work, and I'd come home and Google. And words kept coming up, like nauseous, right, and tired, and AIDS, and HIV. I didn't know all this. So I started getting really tired, like really tired. And I could smell, if you smoked a cigarette an hour and a half ago, I could smell it. I was a smoker, but it just turned me off. Coffee turned me off. So I knew it. My HIV turned to AIDS. So I went to go see my doctor, and I told her all my symptoms. And she looked at me, and she's like, well, let's try something. So she has me pee in a cup, put a stick in, 2 blue lines. Oh my gosh, you're having a baby. I'm like, what? So she's like, don't worry. People with HIV have babies all the time. I'm like, do they? Do they now? So, remember when I was telling you what I wanted to be when I grew up? Dude, I was the worst babysitter. I was never a fan of kids. This was just not gonna happen. And I wasn't a little bit pregnant. I was like 2nd trimester pregnant, right? Don't know how I didn't know. I was a little stressed at the time. So, I have to go to the doctor. So you go to the infectious disease clinic, which is just great, again, those blinkety lights. And I'm given these horse pills, and they're crazy. So I'm told, you know, as long as you take this at the same time every single day, there's a chance that the HIV virus may not infect the child. I'm like, that's great, may not. So I've decided that, you know, maybe I should probably tell my parents. So it's my Papa Don't Preach moment. I took them out somewhere definitely public, and I told them a lot, right? I mean, they kind of knew I wasn't that innocent, but yeah. So I had sex out of wedlock, and I didn't use a condom, or did I? And I got the, you know, the big STD, the golden one. So, oh, and I'm pregnant. You're gonna be grandparents. Yeah, all before the age of 25. So, I tell them, and my mom like runs to the bathroom and like pukes her guts out. And my dad has got these blue eyes, and he's like, what? I'm like, no, I got a picture. And my dad doesn't understand how I get the drugs. And I'm like, you know, Canada, pretty cool place. They help you out. So I have this baby. Every time they talked about this canal, birth canal, I fainted. Like I had to go through it. So I was able to, and there was a time this lady wrote this column and people really put her down because she was too posh to push. That was my line. Yep, can't push. So I got this cesarean section, and it was wonderful. And I had this baby, and they whisked the child away, and I had to get 3 tests on this child, and they had to be months apart. So the first thing I was told too, I couldn't breastfeed. So when they had the breast is best, they would invite everyone to go breastfeed in the hospital, and I couldn't. I saw what those women look like, totally fine. I still feel like a woman, much more of a woman. So I found out 3 months later that my child, who is a little boy, is HIV negative, which was truly, truly awesome. So, thank you, yeah, he's great. So he's 10 now, crazy guy. The HIV thing's the least of our problems. But I can't tell him about the HIV because it's not that easy. I have to tell my partners because, you know, the courts are in our bedrooms now. That's fine. But I still have to get this out. I can't tell the moms we go to school with. It's a secret I share. And it feels so good to get it off because I feel like liberated now, so I'll be good for the next few weeks or months. But if you have that secret, share it because it feels good. Thank you for listening.